If you completely take out 9 to 5 out of the economy, what do you have left? As an entrepreneur, can you do everything?
I'm the one feeding you.
Hope you know managers and
And you are
employees.
telling me you are more important than me.
Hold on.
I'm the one paying your salary.
Hold on.
And you are saying
Entrepreneurship versus 9 to 5 job. Which would you prefer, or which of the divide do you stand? Now, looking at our society, it is believed that once you're an entrepreneur, you're making more money than someone that is doing a 9 to 5 job.
Yeah.
And with me on the show today, I have 2 guests and my co-hosts. We're going to be doing justice to this topic. One will be speaking, obviously, for the part that will definitely favor the entrepreneurs, and one will be speaking for the part that favors the 9 to 5 job. So we will just be like the novice from the side asking the questions. But I want to first of all introduce my co-host before I introduce my guests on the show. So I have with me.
Yeah, I'm the Grandmaster. Welcome you guys to another episode of Hard Knocks. And to my right, I have one of our guests here.
Yeah, my name is Afolabi. So I'm going to be on the entrepreneurship side, yeah. But I want to say it's good to be here. It's good to be here. Thank you very much. You are obviously going to have a swell time today. Yeah.
Hi everyone. My name is Tosing George. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be here. I will definitely be speaking on the 9 to 5 side. Please don't criticize me. They are my views. My views are my own and my own only. But definitely, I'm happy to be here to share my views. Thank you.
It's looking like we might be having an argument here today.
Well, let's not call it an argument, but let's just say it's going to be, will I say eye-watering? It's going to be informative, and we're going to take something home. So let me start with Tosin.
Okay.
When did you start working?
To be honest, I've not been working for such a long time. So give or take about 5 years in the career space for now. So say about 5 years.
So have you do you have any skill outside working, like any craft, any skill?
So do you mean when you say
when I
skill,
mean
you know?
skill, not job on the job skill, not skill,
Okay.
like when I mean something you do on the side aside working?
Yes, I've dabbled, although I'm speaking for 9 to 5 today.
Yeah,
But,
I know.
I've also dabbled into some other like consulting role, which sort of, is similar to what you have as an entrepreneur. I've done some work around, what is it again? So I started consulting. I also run a public energy publication outfit, where we sort of promote and highlight energy professionals. So I've done a bit of, outside what you would expect from a career person.
From a career
Mhm.
person. So why do you prefer 9 to 5? Why do you think it's easier to climb the ladder of success doing a 9 to 5 job as against being an entrepreneur?
So I don't have anything against entrepreneurship. And, this is not a thing of, one is better than the other. If you're not a 9 to 5, or if you're doing 9 to 5, you're a slave. As some people will put it, like you're not doing 9 to 5, you don't have your time, you're a slave to things. And if an entrepreneur, it almost seems very glorified, like, if an entrepreneur, you're just in money, you're swimming in money. But that's obviously not the case. And in my own experience, I think that being a 9 to 5, there's certain pros and cons, just the same way you have for entrepreneurship. And I would say that number one, which is obvious, is job security. Yes, in certain economies, your job is not that secure. But there are certain places where, like an example is, with the fintech space now, you see that a lot of funding coming into the fintech space is being withdrawn because of how I think startup founders have sort of navigated the space. And we've heard in the past few months that businesses have shut down, and so that definitely creates a sort of disruption, imbalance in the space. People are losing their jobs. And even as at last year or so, thousands of people lost their jobs. Even this year, thousands of people lost their jobs. So that security I've mentioned may not always be there in every economy. But the first thing I would say is job security, because I've been secure with my own job opportunities since I started working. Right. And, it's just predictable. At the end of the month, money went down. Unlike entrepreneurship, you literally have to fight for every naira that gets into your account. You might not even have anything going in your account, in a month. But as with someone with a 9 to 5, you know that at the end of the month, even if I'm sick, even if I go off for 2 weeks, maybe on holiday or something, I will get paid at the end of the month. So this is not also I'm not making a case for laziness in work, but it's just you can't just predict it, and that predictability is very important for living your life.
But I want to take you on something you said. When you say job security, I don't entirely agree.
Okay.
And I want you to maybe buttress your point further.
Mhm.
I know there is career security and there is job security, right?
Mhm.
Career security is also, maybe it's time bound. You might, a lot of the people in tech now
Yes.
actually may have career security because
Mhm.
this place is not as saturated as, let's say, farmers or teachers, right? So, and why it's not saturated is because not everyone has come to terms or have that skill now. So you find those people that are doing well in that, they are kind of skill. But when you now talk of a proper 9 to 5, you can get sacked at any time as against being an entrepreneur. That's why I think, anyway, you might want to buttress your point
there
further.
is that, like I just mentioned with the tech space, shutting down of businesses means thousands of people lost their jobs.
But because now a lot of the tech guys that we know, they don't do one job. They work for several companies. So that's why I'm talking about career security.
Mhm.
They don't work. So funny, a lot of them are not even crying that they are losing. They may be crying because they've lost maybe one of the
source of
job
income.
Yeah.
that was giving them more money. But they also have something they are doing by the side with that same skill.
Mhm.
So what do you have to say? I think it might be career security for select persons, not
For select industries.
select industries. But if you want to look at it generally,
I think it depends on the sector too. Like in the fintech space, things are a little unpredictable. But in places like, say, people working for the government, you don't think they have career security?
so that's a Nigerian thing now. They have. I understand that. Yeah, there where you talk about predictability, it works because a civil servant can even predict up to the time he will get retired, right?
So,
but how many people are in the civil service?
That's also another point. But in my own experience, in the sector that I've been, in the I'm actually in like two sectors, but the one I would call my 9 to 5, it's unpredictable. Even in the times in COVID where it felt like jobs were not available and businesses were winding down or they were cutting out non-essential services, it was still
So
predictable.
you say, I like the fact that I say your experience, right?
So this is
you would rather just do your 9 to 5.
So it doesn't mean that I'm not, there's a way you just look at entrepreneurs like, what are they doing? Let me see if if something I also want to do. It doesn't mean that I also don't like to be an entrepreneur. But starting out as a young person, I think you need that lot of structure that work gives you, and you gather experience for your own
Entrepreneurship.
ventures. So I think a 9 to 5, particularly for young people that get into the space, is important. You learn the skills of the job.
I think one of the things that still make people to go for that 9 to 5 is the risk factor. Now, as an entrepreneur, you're going to invest your money. You don't know what will happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
So when you look at that risk factor, compared to someone who works in whether the private sector or the public sector. Now, if I work in the public sector, my job is even more secured because you know that, okay, nothing can go wrong.
Yeah.
And you have room to play, to do some other things.
Yeah.
So
flexible.
so that flexibility is there. Now going to Afolabi now you transition from 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur. Now, how were you able to do that? And what has been your success story? What would you say that, okay, would you say it was a good thing for you to have transitioned from 9 to 5 to being an entrepreneur? I want to hear your opinion.
Okay, so I like to be very real. I'm very, very real, but not reckless. So, and the way I reach out to people most of the times, I tell people my story. There's no how you're going to meet me in 5-10 minutes and you won't be inspired. Okay, so let me tell you how it went, and this is my journey. So you need to understand that everything I'm going to be saying here is my story. Do you get? Yeah. So I've naturally been a very hard guy, but I have this very smallish body. I know. So
when you say hard guy, what does that mean?
I used to be rough. I used to be very. So I'm you asked the question, so I'm going there. And I told you I'm going to be saying stories today.
Okay.
Yeah. So I spent 13 years in school. It was rough. I made a lot of
reading what
in
medicine.
uni.
I did agricultural economics. I went to
And you spent 13 years.
But I was wayward.
Doing what?
Okay.
Man, it was really
Agric economics is supposed to be 5 years.
Yeah. But, okay, let's say we had strike. Nigeria now. So we get strike. Then aside that, I was not going to class. I ventured into vices I should
I
not.
can
and-
understand
So
now.
I
when
made,
you-
okay.
so I was a prodigal son. Do you get? So when I left school, I remember then that when I left school, I knew that I was not going to do a 9 to 5 for long. I knew I might not get a job after school. So I began to think. But you know how the country works. Luckily, I got a job. And sorry, I forgot what I was trying to say. I said I spent 13 years in school, and you guys said so. I left with the mentality that, guy, you've wasted so much time. You need to anything not giving you enough money. So I did a 9 to 5 job. It was easy. I worked with Chef Rex, and amazing guy. But after a while, I compared the salary. I said, compared to someone who has studied 13 years, when am I going to get married? When would I get a house? I said, guy, come, you need to do something else. Then as I started doing programs in the Avestas. Then somehow, my living 9 to 5 was a bit sad at some point. But right now, I would say I thank God. But let me tell you something about 9 to 5, about the entrepreneurship thingy. Most times when you do 9 to 5 to a lot of us is not passion driven. I'm a very passionate person. I can't do what I don't love. I'm sorry. I would rather be broke than do what I don't love. I just have this crazy value for self thingy. So I sat down and I said, okay, well, and then I looked because I said living was. So I looked again. I said, for what are you doing? The funny thing or the natural idea the world has about being an entrepreneur is that you need to start big. Do not despise the
Yeah.
days of your little beginnings.
Yeah.
I left school, and then that's how I met everyone who changed my life. I started doing Uber. When I left, I said, I believe I will make more than, and there are times when I'll go for trips and I'll make as much as 500K in a month. And I said, no, come on. There are some banks that, how
Don't
it
pay
is.
as much
Don't
as
pay
that.
as much for a new graduate. And although I was on the old side, but I don't pay. I need to, I go get married. I got fresh. So I started doing it. So the mistakes a lot of us have is that we think when you hear the word entrepreneur, you think you need to invest millions. Come on, you don't need to invest millions. You can start little. You might not even have a staff and be an entrepreneur and make money. So so how was the transition easy for me? I looked back, I said, okay, so I was saying something. I said, most times what we do is our job. But this is how I see entrepreneurship and
9 to
9
5.
to 5.
5.
Or let me start from 9 to 5. And see it as a transition. Understanding that your 9 to 5 is your job. Only so that you can have a work. What is your work? Your work is what your inborn. Do you get?
Yeah.
Naturally, I've had this idea that I was going into real estate. I've had this idea that I'm an excellent person. I like, when I came the other time, before we started the show and all, I was just watching out. I was just being mindful. How do I? So I sat down and I said, hey, come on, Afo, you need to make more money. I started with Uber and I started making money. And then I looked, I said, how do I do it? I started meeting people. So I need you to understand that the word entrepreneurship is not a biggie. You can start wherever you are. I'll drive Uber and I'll just maintain, but I ensured I always look well. I ensure that when I speak with you, you ask me, why are you doing Uber? And then I said, okay. I started meeting people. I started making people. I never knew much about building. My younger brother was the architect, but I
Okay.
had the clientele. Then I said, as a smart boy now, as I'm a boy now, you just, I smell very well, I buy expensive perfume. So Uber guy, and then I used to have one goal, like I just wear the gold, I have tattoos. And till now I still have So when you see me, you'll be like, this guy get tattooed. Please, can you tell me about yourself? The ladies would even whine you and be like, hey, please, can you take me? Then they'll give me change. And then I started saving. I started making more until I met a client that changed my life. It was going in the US. And then I said, there are people that are in the US that don't even trust their family members. I looked at the market. Most times, entrepreneurship has to do with value you offer.
Yeah.
Tell people.
I tell people something, the strength of a material is in its universal appeal. If you're an excellent man in Nigeria, when you're anywhere in the world, that's you have a brand. We are all brands. And I say, let me create this brand now. A lot of people are in the abroad, and we see it on Insta blog, we see everywhere on this, a lot of, and then they'll be like, we give one family member money after 10 years, 15 years. Most times it's always like that. For how family people are, you don't do business, and then they mix business with pleasure and then take advantage of, Chibi is my brother. And then I said, okay, let me start building for people. And that was how I started. But I was very honest with their money. When I had the time, I was smart. What do I mean smart? Let me just quickly tell you. Everyone knows already, or people would know. But in case you don't know, I started having smart goals. And what do I mean? I was specific with what I wanted to do. So when I was still doing the Uber thing, I was like, how do I want to dress today? Who are those I want to meet today? how do I want to address them? That's one. Then I had a measurable goal. I could measure it. I could sit down and say, and forecast and say, I want to make this week. 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 I had an achievable goal, something that it was not. I didn't say because of this. I had friends.
Not wild.
Yeah,
wild.
I had friends that had 2 cars. Then when I was still doing, I had friends that had 3 cars that were. But I looked, I said, no, I needed something that was achievable. I don't like loans. I don't like anything that won't make me sleep at night. And then I was relevant. I had a relevant goal. I was relevant. I had something to offer. I just wanted to do something. And then lastly, I had a time-bound goal. There was a time-bound goal. I said I was going to do Uber was not the end of my life. I said I was just going to do this for about 6. It was not even up to 6 months.
It was supposed to be a means to an end.
Yeah, that's why I said so. 9 to 5. The way I see it, so please pardon me. It's supposed to be a means to an end to what you finally financing yourself into. For example, if I want to have a music label, I can start from being a banker. We have people that were, 9 to 5 people, and then they started there.
Hold on, let me. I want to take. Sorry, let me take you on something you said. When you say it's a means to an end, don't you think you have that goal because of the you said something about the pay you were earning?
Yeah.
It wasn't enough. For someone that, I don't know your pay, but you said you work in the energy sector, so I want to believe you most likely will be earning in dollars.
Okay.
Is it easy for someone to now see working in Shell as your startup job?
Okay.
You can't call that a means to an end. I'm sorry. I disagree with you
I
there.
actually disagree with some of the things you said.
Okay. So let me tell you what I mean. There's nothing wrong in... See, there are 5 basic questions I ask myself as a human. And that dictates who you are. Don't forget, I never said 9 to 5 is bad. I never said entrepreneurs. But I'm just saying that endeavor, for me, one of the things that made me leave 9 to 5 was that I don't like routines. I'm very flexible. If I was a banker, you can't call me to come and do podcasts. They won't allow me now. And this is what I like.
Yeah.
But then you see, I'm sure you've noticed that the banking industries, GT Bank and the Access Bank, they have podcasts and they have their employees on those podcasts. So
I think I can understand the angle it's coming from. Let me tell you, at some point, I was once a banker. So at some point, it became monotonous to me. Now, I was a marketer. You go out every day, you come back, do meetings in the evening. The following day, you repeat the same process again. So I kept repeating the same process every day. And at some point, I wasn't even enjoying it. Now, if I'm in an environment where I can come up with an idea today, execute it. Tomorrow, I come up with another idea again. I deal with different people from different sectors, different ideas. I'm working on different ideas every day. It makes the job very interesting.
Yeah.
So I can understand from that part where you said, okay, it became monotonous to you and you're not a routine person.
Yeah.
Some people might not like to do that. Some might want, they want that flexibility of being able to do different things. And being an entrepreneur, we allow you to do that.
Yeah.
You can come up with any project on your own. Okay, you execute it. This is what I want to do this year. This is what I want to do. But when you're in a 9 to 5, you are more or less like executing what has been prepared. Okay, this is what we want to do. So sometimes you can say it's monotonous, truly. So I can relate with that
experience. So as a program manager with 9 to 5, I come up with KPIs. I set the KPIs for my team. So we decide there are overall company goals, but then you break those goals and say, okay, what do we want to achieve as a team? And then you have you have the capacity to decide what the strength of that or how well you guys will achieve those KPIs. Yes, it's still within the company goals, but you can stretch it as much as you can. And Afolabi, I think that what you're describing more is you're describing yourself as a passionate individual, and I see a lot of passion in that. But it's not the same for thousands of entrepreneurs all over the world.
Exactly.
And you must acknowledge the fact that entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship and 9 to 5 has to exist together. So there's no one is better than the other because they exist together. You have people that work under you. Are they entrepreneurs? They're not entrepreneurs. You will not, as an entrepreneur, now say, I will only employ entrepreneurs. Your business will not run. So we need to understand that these things work hand in hand, and not everybody can become an entrepreneur. It just would not work. If everybody has an entrepreneur, I'm sure that
who work
for the other person, who clean the floors. Doctors, can they be entrepreneurs?
Yeah.
Can doctors be entrepreneurs? There are doctors that own their clinics, but it's not practical to say everyone should just become an entrepreneur. And I understand the fact that yes, some people then transition from use your 9 to 5 to transition into something. But I think For 9 to 5, the advice would be work in sectors that you're passionate about.
Yeah, that's why I said passion.
Work in sectors that you're passionate. There are creative industries today. You see how people create content. They literally think up what their job roles will be. They figure out what they want to do. They have that capacity to sort of decide what the role will be. So there are a lot of things you can do. So 9 to 5, I don't think is as limiting as we think it should be.
Okay, now let's look at another angle again. Now, I later mentioned the public sector, government agencies. Now, if you look at that space, you wouldn't say there's so much flexibility. In fact, when you talk about monotony, that's where it's more pronounced there. Now, you will now be wondering why is someone doing this for several years and is still within that space, not even thinking about to move to another space or transition to another space or to another thing entirely. For private sector, you can still see that flexibility. You can still exhibit that passion. But maybe for government agencies, in this climate, let me put it that way, because I don't know what is obtainable out there. But in Nigeria, to be specific, we all know what our perception about civil servants are. Some people will tell you the only reason why they're in civil service is because it gives them that room to do some other things. To such a person, you wouldn't even want to preach entrepreneurship to them. Now, in another breath, they can as well be an entrepreneur in the sense that they're working as a civil servant. It gives them room to do some other things. And they're now doing things on their own. But the only determining factor now is that they might not be able to do it on a large scale because they still have an existing work. Or like someone who has decided, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. You establish a business. Then at some point you feel that, okay, I need to scale up again, expansion, this and that. It will get to a point that you can't do any other thing other than to face your business, else it will suffer.
Yeah, I'd like to butt in it. I think that you also need to assess the reasons why people take certain jobs. Some people take jobs because of job security. Some people take jobs because they want to be challenged. Some people take jobs because of several other reasons, the money and all the connections, people that they would meet. And I think here people take government jobs because it's just secure. It's like, your inheritance.
It's the most secure job.
Almost like your inheritance. And, for me, I think that we don't have such a competent, public workforce. We know what happens. People don't appear there. They just, if you come in the morning or come in the evening, close work and go home. So I would not really count those people as, I don't have the words
to people to look up to.
I will not see them as the standard.
They're not even to be considered as 9 to 5.
I won't consider them as the standard.
So you're looking at more of the private sector.
Yes, because these are people that they won't survive in the private sector. You can't come to work at 9 and leave at 2 or leave at.
So she has just created a class now, which means we have the 9 to 5, we have the entrepreneurs, and we have a people that are not part of this discussion.
No, those people are still part of the 9 to 5.
No, she just created a class to say they are not people that qualify.
I would not be
as 9 to 5 in her eyes, and she has given her reasons, right? But let's ask a question so we don't.
Okay.
Let's ask now. Which is easier to do?
Okay.
You have done. Let me start with you because which is easier to do?
Okay.
Is it the 9 to 5 or being a businessman?
Obviously, 9 to 5 is easier to do.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah. You know why? The reward of work is more work. So for every time you hit a goal, you want to give yourself more tasks. That's how I see it. And then I believe that freedom at times comes with burden. I want to be free now, but I'm thinking there's a client I need to meet up in Akure. I need to be in Rwanda one more time this year. I didn't plan to. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And there's just this burden because we are employed to think, okay, let me not go there. I know we might still get there. We might still get there pretty soon. But my idea about an entrepreneur is that, man, a lot of people think entrepreneur is far thing. No, you don't far for as an entrepreneur. It looks like the only difference between an entrepreneur at times, or the major pivotal difference, is that you are the one taking the responsibility. You are the one that has the financing. So you can decide to say, everybody, don't come to work today, and people would not come. You can decide to. So you have more
control.
You have more control of your time. You can say, I want to go for this course. I need to go for like about 2 courses. I need to do 2 courses before the end of this year. I'm thinking because I'm paying myself, so I can think more, and then I have more exposure to making more. As a matter of fact, the top billionaires, you can't be the top billionaire and do 9 to 5. At least I know of 1 to 50.
That's a given. But then
you
there are
understand?
billionaires that are 9 to 5 too. Afolabi.
I
Don't
know, no, I'm
forget.
not saying that. I'm saying
But-
the richest people in
but
the
we still
world.
have people. I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we still have people here in Nigeria who do 9 to 5, like the bank CEOs. They are
Yes.
paid in.
But are they
Some
the
are
richest?
received. I wouldn't say they are the richest, but the thing is,
Well, you
If
know,
you-
Nigeria
they are
defies
considered
logic.
rich.
The richest people in Nigeria are the politicians. So it may
So-
not say.
that's
So-
another
That's
discussion.
aside.
for
Eh,
another day.
So
Let's
but-
not go there.
so but ideally, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think there is this quote, although we are trying to not talk about politics. There is this quote that resonates currently
Okay.
that says any country where the politicians are
There's a
richer
problem.
than the businessmen is
There's
a
a
problem.
problem. Yes.
I know we all know who made that quote
Yeah.
famous.
Yeah.
Now. So, but now let's leave the politicians and talk about businessmen, right?
Yeah.
Who are the richest?
That's what I'm saying. Businessmen are.
Yeah, usually the business.
Yeah. I'm not saying you
Is
can't
it
be
about being the richest or about
Yes.
being rich?
Or
There's
be
a difference.
comfortable. Be comfortable.
No, you can't. The funny thing is,
I might not aspire to be the richest person,
okay,
Well,
but I want to be rich.
yeah, that's possible.
And there are CEOs, there are 9 to 5ers that are richer than, the entire life cycle of an entrepreneur. A CEO can make it in 1 year. What an entrepreneur, some entrepreneurs will make in their lifetime. Some CEOs will make it in 1 year.
Yeah.
So they do things as well.
So let me.
So I think if you want to actually do this category, if you do work with data, there is a way you look at it, right? So you might now say, if you look at the wealth of a nation, in whose hands do most of those wealth lies? You might handpick, let's say you have a population of 100 million, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That are rich. 100 million are rich, are classified as being rich in any population, in our population, although we know
Okay.
it's a
Yeah.
lie. In Nigerian population, let's say 100 million are rich.
Mhm.
Now, how many of those 100 million, right? Let's say, and you have $1 billion
Mhm.
as their total worth.
Okay.
Inside that 100 million, you now have 50 entrepreneurs
Yeah.
controlling $500 million.
Exactly. That's how it
And
works.
the other
People.
nine to five who now make up the out of
Mm-hmm.
100 million people, you have 50 people having $500 million, right? That is how you're going to look at it. So it might now, I am already giving us a hint. More of Nigeria's wealth will rest
An entrepreneur.
in it. Because if you check how much Dangote alone has as a person, then you bring in the other billionaires, Bill.
Hotel dollar and
The
I
Bill,
know, yeah.
I think the second one is the Bill,
Yeah.
the Bill cement man, right?
Okay. What's his
Rabiu
name?
something also. The
Dan
second man.
Tatal,
Yes.
whatever.
Then you start talking of the Dan Tatars and
Oh,
the
Tedola,
other ones,
no,
right?
yeah.
I'm not, So you are now going to see that much of the chunk of the wealth of the nation will be in their hands. Because how much do the bank see? The bank CEOs are, I feel like they are just tools for some of those people too.
But for someone that hands, a bank CEO hands around 400, 500 million per year annually. That's a good deal.
And that's
Some hand 200 plus, depending on the bank.
Mhm.
200 plus,
Yeah.
300 plus, 400 million.
Yeah,
I
and
think
even
the
more.
highest should be close to 500 million.
But
No, there's a C. Okay, aside banks, if you look at telecommunications, I think I was
MTN.
talking
That's
to
another
an-
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yeah.
So it's in the billions.
So
And
now,
some-
if I'm an entrepreneur now,
Yeah.
and my business, maybe the size of my business is not even more than, let's say 2 million naira or 3
That's
million
what I'm
naira,
talking about.
and I come out and with my
I
full
say,
chest
I
to
say,
say
and it's
I'm an
every-
entrepreneur.
that
And meanwhile, there's a
everybody
guy
should
there.
follow you.
Who
When
is
they-
a nine to five?
There's doing
That's
95,
making
doing
10 times
400
more
no,
than
but
you
this
do.
is also relatable. Just like there's some 9 to 5 you are shy from now. You are not even you don't even she has to, you just said something now. Trying to be like, okay, for you to be a CEO,
Yeah.
there are people that are calling themselves CEO,
Yeah.
and then they don't even have, there's some 9 to 5 that earn more. And so I would also say that it's relatable. Just
Mhm.
like there's some 9 to 5 you don't want to get acquainted to. You are an effective person, basically. There are some 9 to 5, you said the government staff and all. You said some government staff don't go to war. So it's relatable.
But
It's
let me
it's
tell
a
you something. Let me
two-way thing.
delve into a little bit of finance.
Okay.
What is your worth as a person? So for us to actually know what somebody, it's not really what you earn, your
Okay.
take home at the end of the month.
Yeah.
It is your balance sheet.
Yeah.
So if you earn 400 million naira and I earn 200 million naira, I may end up being richer than you,
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
because you have more
You are
influence.
richer than me in earnings,
Okay.
but net profit.
Yeah.
So it now depends on our spending habits.
Yeah.
So someone who earns 400 million and has bills of 300 million naira.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Will have a net. So
Of
that
100
300 million
million.
has gone out.
Yeah.
What is now what is what he has.
Yeah.
And when you're spending, when you buy house, it's not expensive.
Yeah.
It's taken as capital expenditure
Yeah.
or something you've expended an asset. We're talking of when you now spend your money.
Yeah.
So in this sense, we may not really be able to sit down here and just quantify and say the CEOs or something are so rich because they earn 400 million naira, and there may be one entrepreneur somewhere that. So I'm just trying to bring that so I will understand. But do you still want to stick your neck out and say the entrepreneurs are the richest?
Obviously, I will. Rationalizing it.
So how much you make more than you?
Okay,
Do you make more now that you work for yourself than when you work for?
And
I
I'm
think
sorry, and it gives me passion. Okay, I remember that. You guys remembered when the old dollar was just increasing and then was
Yeah.
increasing and everybody they were laying people off work. Honestly, that was the time I broke even this year. If I was a 9 to 5 person, I'm not saying I'm not open to big opportunities. Oh, I traveled twice. I went for vacation in the midst of the old, and then I was
as a 9 to 5er.
No. You can, but it's controlled. I can wake up today and say I want to switch off my phone. I need to rest. You can't do it as a 9 to 5 because you are tomorrow. You need to, and then. But let me tell you the advantage. My mom used to tell us something. I'm Yoruba, pardon. She say, "Ogata." That's 9 to 5 to me. Whether anything happens, we go borrow. So it comes with advantages. It comes with disadvantages. That's why I said sometimes freedom comes with a burden. It's, for example, there's a slave and a master. The slave doesn't have to think about food. He knows that the master will make the food available. The slave doesn't need to think about goals. He knows that somebody is thinking. So if you look at it, it looks like freedom itself comes with a lot of other responsibilities.
Let me paint a picture. I'll paint this picture with a picture of a family.
Yeah.
Now, the kids are the employees, the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Kids don't care where food is going to come from. They always believe
exactly.
Food.
But kids still don't work.
But the head of the family, who is like the entrepreneur now, is saddled with the responsibility of
exactly.
Okay, I have to pay this bill, I have to pay that bill. You are now thinking, how do I do this? How do I do that?
But she said something now. She said something. Let me so you buttress that point more. Which is when you spoke about lifestyle, right?
Okay.
You
Walkings.
You were bragging with that lifestyle, not bragging now, walkings.
Yeah.
But she now said that she also travels
I
out
didn't
even
say,
at 9
bro,
to 5.
you know, bro, check out online now. Just check out because for example, tomorrow now, if I can just wake up and see about 20 million. I can wake up and see 15 million. I can wake up and see 100 million.
She can see that in there are companies that pays profit sharing. She can just see it too now.
But notwithstanding, remember I said something. Mm-hmm. I said when you are a CEO, one thing you have, is a personality thing. I like to be free. I want to rule my life. I don't want to wake up to a mail. I want to be the one sending mails. I don't want to. Have you done the job? Is it ready? Okay, all right, that's fine. Doesn't make me a lazy person. I'm just like, I want to get this money. I want to make this money. So I just look back and said, the money where I won't make, and then please, another thing we should watch again is economic factors. You need to check our geography. I just left school. I was not born rich. I finished with 2-2. I had to Jomo, I had to go for courses, I had to, now. What are the opportunities that? How much? See, okay, let's see now. How much does an average graduate? I just left school today, and I mean an average student. How much does he earn after school? So those were the questions I sat down. I said, no, man, this country, the way this Nigeria they go now, I don't feel go do bank. I have a lot of friends who that are earning about 250K, 300K. But I looked at my life, and then I said, is this sustainable for me?
Especially for someone with big dreams.
God, I'm choleric. I'm like, me too, I want to be a billionaire. I'm like, before 40, I want to be like, hey,
That's why I say you are a rich guy, but you
Okay,
look me with a kind of eye when I say it.
Okay, okay.
The thing is this: you have a goal. You have the belief that I'm looking for a huge amount of money. As a company or as an entrepreneur, you can get a deal that will give you maybe a 20M, a 30M, a 50M, a 100M.
Yeah.
But as a 9 to 5, you already know what you're going to get.
You were talking about
The
profit
best
sharing.
case you can get is maybe a certain percentage of
Yeah.
the profit sharing.
Okay, I agree with that. But then, there are entrepreneurs that 20, maybe they only make it once in 2 years. And a 9-to-5er has made that same money steadily.
Steadily.
Knows when it comes in. And it will make twice that money.
Can I say something?
Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
So I think they're just pros and
The
cons.
the essence of being an entrepreneur is that you diversify. That's why you find out that some of those guys who are rich are don't just.
But do you diversify what you have not seen?
So where I'm going is when the money comes in it's freedom. You are free. You are like, okay. For example, I was talking to you today.
Yeah, we're talking.
I said, I want to make one money now. Once I make money, I feel like doing fish farming. The money is do you get? The money is available. I said, I know that. Do you get? So the more I get, the more I diversify. The more I diversify.
But let me give you.
I'm more financially stable.
Why do you think I'm looking at you as an entrepreneur now?
Okay.
You said something about being scared of loans.
Okay.
Real entrepreneurs are not scared of loans.
Sorry, that's it. See, we need to understand that we have different personalities. When I don't say I don't get loans, but it's not. I don't have a natural habit of wanting to borrow. There are people that a lot of entrepreneurs don't check their pros and cons.
Do you have a financial advisor?
Of course I do, but this is where I'm going. Hold up. A lot of entrepreneurs don't consider before they venture into investments, and most times the returns, it doesn't come out the way they do, the way they expected. I'm not sure you understand what I mean.
I understand you clearly, sir.
Do you get what I mean? So I don't want you to see an entrepreneur as somebody that is just faffing, or as someone who just thinks that, we need each other. That's the balance. Why am I an entrepreneur? Is it not to employ people? Yeah. Why am I? Do you get? Why am I a CEO? It's because I want to be free. I want to think. I want to innovate.
I feel like this freedom you talk so much about, I think I have an issue with it.
Why do
I want that to. Yeah, go ahead.
You look as if who do 9 to 5, they don't have any sort of freedom.
Mama, see, maybe I didn't enjoy it.
You are sounding to her as if you are sounding like they are under bondage or something.
Sorry, you work remotely, right?
Remotely.
Okay, now let me tell. I think there's one thing we need to touch on now.
Yeah.
For people that work remotely, to an extent you can still say, okay, you have your freedom.
There's a lot of flexibility.
But for someone who works on site, especially pre-COVID era, people work on site. Now you are being controlled your time. You don't own your time. Your employer owns your time.
Okay.
You can be at the office. I've worked in a place where same day I was told that I'll be traveling to another state. I had no choice.
Yeah.
There was no room for me to say no.
That's what I mean.
But as an entrepreneur, you can decide, I'm not feeling too well. I don't think I want to go. I'm not just in the mood to travel. These are some of the things that you look at.
I want to bring a different way. We are looking at it from... I want to bring something. Let me say something. I don't think, like she said, even you as an entrepreneur, you are not exactly free.
You're not free.
Now, let me say what I say. Something
You're
is...
tied to the desires and
let me tell you.
Yes.
Thank you. The desire and demand. Let me tell you something. The day you wake up and decide that you don't want to do anything, it is not because you just decided. It is something. Either the value of the deal you are getting on that day is not worth it for you. Now, let me also tell you, for civil servants, right? If you're working for somebody or as a 9 to 5, you also grow in your career. If you start as an associate staff, that is when you are caged because you're working. Now, for people that are in management cadre, they also can control their time a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Now, to the point where you are now growing, it's also true for an entrepreneur. When you start at the early stage, trust me, you are taking every job and you're also not free because you need money at that point. The point where you now sit down like Dangote
is when you're established.
When you are established.
So
everybody is under bondage at some point.
Dangote is not sitting down.
When you say sitting, thank you. I said when you now get to the point where you feel you cannot sit down, doesn't mean he's also
not doing
sitting.
everything.
You have not buttressed my point that Dangote is also under cage
when he mentions freedom, I think it's not freedom in the real sense. but the ability to be able to take decision on your own.
That's what I mean.
So those are two,
that's what he's trying
those
to
are
say
two
now.
different words now, which means
this
he is misconstruing freedom for free.
I'm not sure
I
you get
think
me.
I'm looking
No.
at the context.
Sorry,
it
let
made
me
it.
make you. I said something. I said freedom is a burden. I just said it where I explained the concept of. You've also said it. The concept of being a man. Nobody will ask you not to marry. Nobody will ask you as a man not to get married. But they will ask you, can you take the responsibility as a man? And you're married now. You are free. You can say it. But in the actual sense, you are actually not free. It comes with a burden. That's what I said. I didn't. So the perspective I have about being an entrepreneur is not that I want to go and flex I want to go for a vacation. You can apply for a leave and go at any time. But I can decide at my own free will because I am the one creating the rules and regulations. That's what I mean. And the funny, a lot of people don't know that while the 9-to-5 employees are sleeping, a lot of entrepreneurs, CEOs, entrepreneurs are not sleeping.
That's true. That's correct.
See, I worked with a boss sometimes, few times, during the COVID, and I'm being careful and I don't want to be careful. I don't know. Okay, so
Spill it out.
Let me. I worked with an organization. I don't want to mention for.
Okay.
So during COVID, let me tell you how natural some of our leaders are, because some leaders will feel like instead of working from home. See, babe, do you know that you just said something now, and I know that if your boss will feel like, so you're not working. You're supposed to be working by this time.
No.
And you're like, and I'm
Remote
like,
work is based on deliverables, not the time you spend working.
okay,
This is what you're supposed to do.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm just thinking
the
like
modern organization is now being built that way.
exactly,
and we are, whether we like it or not, in Nigeria, we have to catch up.
Okay, that's true. That's
Yeah,
true. So let me
because-
just leave that aside.
So it means you are missing something. You left entrepreneurship when you started becoming sweet.
When? No, but right now, let me explain.
Would you want to agree with that statement?
No.
Well, I
In fact,
disagree.
I left entrepreneurship when Nigeria was still when I could. Let me tell you why I left
You left 9
entrepreneurship.
to
I was
5
just tired of
9 to
I
5.
wanted-
You
I
left
wanted-
9 to 5 rather. I
I-
said you left
I
entrepreneurship.
left 9 to 5 because at some point I said it's not sustainable. I have a picture of how I want my life to be.
But would you have left
And
if you were working in a company where you were earning better? And I mean better.
Honestly,
Maybe you would have
to be
stayed
sincere.
longer.
trust me.
Maybe you would have stayed longer.
Trust me.
And I'm telling you, a company that
Yeah.
was paying you well. You
Listen,
know what I mean?
and you're
Well.
traveling.
Can I say something?
Yes.
To you? Now, this is where I'm going. Everybody tilts. There are two major criteria, two major pillars in the life of everyone here: passion and money. Don't mind me, it's just me. If you get close to me, you would know. I'm more or one of the very few humans that are tilted towards more on passion than money.
What fuels
So
your
I think that
passion?
idea.
Something must fuel your passion. This is
So
based
most-
on
okay.
scholarly. Something must fuel your passion.
That's where need comes in.
Is
Could be
needs
anything.
fuel your
Yeah,
passion.
that's where
Now,
needs
what?
come
How
in.
do you
What-
satisfy your needs?
No, this is
What
I
are
mean.
your needs actually? If you are using them, even if it's
I don't mean my
Maslow's,
needs. So
uh,
see, as an entrepreneur, there's no how. The essence or the goal of a product is to meet a need. That's what I mean. So I'm not talking about my need.
okay.
I'm talking about value. How can I make your life better? What can I do for you?
You said something about your needs. You want to, you are fueled by
By
passion
needs.
to meet
Yeah.
a need, and you're saying it's not your need, right?
Yeah.
Now it sounded a little bit contradictory for me. Now, when you're talking about leaving your earlier job because you did not have money, or the money was not enough coming from that job, and you said something about wanting to be a billionaire. That's what I've been hearing. So it's like you're saying something, but you mean something else.
Okay.
So I don't know how you want to marry that. You're saying something because I can sense from what you're saying is that, look, for an entrepreneur, you are fueled, whether at the end of the day, forget what we go, if you go to defend a project, we want to do need. At the end of the day, if it's need, if the quotation you bring for that project and they don't meet it to the extent that you break even, or guy, you will go home.
Okay, so can I make you
Yes.
understand? This is what I mean. When I meant needs, and first you need to understand that people grow.
Yeah.
I told you I was saying a story. And most of the statements I said were at different phases of my life. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So you look at me now and be like, leaders make mistakes. Some leader, the Dangote not say of recent that one of his friends is laughing at him. So you make mistakes, but are you growing? So when I said need, when I was in Uber, I would sit down with people and I would tell them, sorry, I overheard you. I've overheard people, they just fly into the country. Like, guy, I'm trying to build a house. So I gave one electrician, the electrician did not do. And then I started to say, let me set up a company to meet these needs. And my target audience were those in the diaspora. So what am I doing? Rather, the probability of me eloping with your money is 0%. But with that your family member, the probability of eating the money and not jailing him.
And there's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. So the needs I said I was about to meet was I'm just passionate. I want to help. I want to solve a problem. For example,
for what price? Let's leave the need now. What is in for you? What's the price for you? What's the glory for you?
So what's the glory for me?
Yes.
You know, when at the end of the day in life, I think one of the major objective of a man is to go home and sleep and feel fulfilled that I've touched a life today.
Now, okay, I agree. You've touched a life. It brings its own satisfaction.
Yeah.
But have you heard of fame without fortune? Why do men cry in their old age when they think that they have given their all, right? They've been diligent.
Okay.
They've touched lives.
Okay.
And they now get old and they see that it didn't really count for something.
No. See, let me make you understand. You cannot be living a purposeful life. You know, you can't do what you love. You can't be this passion driven. You know, the way they talk, go, chair they shake. And then I don't just want to earn money. That's not my idea of. See, I used to tell someone something. At the first 25 years of my life, I was focused on me. The first 25 to 50 years of your life should be we. At 50, hold on, at 50 to 75, I want to focus on them.
Who is we?
So,
is it your family?
So that's what,
Okay.
yeah. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I was 1 to 25, every amount of money I was looking for, the goal was I wanted to focus on me. I wanted to read. I wanted to do this course. For example, before when I met Bimbo today, very amazing lady. You know, she told me that she was doing French. Like she did French.
I did study French
years ago.
Yeah.
And then I sat down in my life. I said, Fola, what were you doing at this age when this lady was learning French? I was just faffing away. Now it's now harder for me to wake up one morning and go and say I want to learn French. When I want to pay for electricity bill, when I want to catch up with a client. I've gone past that stage. So going back to your question, I just woke up. I'm a value person. And my value for self, you would think say I'm big past as I am. And I'm not faking it, it's just me. So what I mean is, I want to wake up and say, okay, I've hit this goal. What is this goal? Am I saying 9 to 5 don't have goals? They do. But I'm more of, okay, how can I make this person happy? You know, it's not more of, I'm the one writing out my KPIs. I give people KPIs. So it's now more of my product, the products and services I sell. How can I stand out? How can I basically meet someone that would say, this guy is different? That's it. In doing that, obviously, you will make money now.
So you're 9 to 5 people as well, because they offer value.
The totality of what we do as human
Yeah.
is to make money.
Yeah.
However, the route we take is what is different.
Basically.
If you are not agreeing with him, at the end of the day, the glory still comes to.
I think it's
as
about
you're meeting your other people's needs, what you call value proposition or value, whatever in the value chain or whatever you call it. At the end of the day, there is also personal need. That is why theorists have itemized our needs.
Okay.
So one might be more pronounced than the other at certain stage of your life. So you are saying at this phase of your life, right? This is you are more centered on meeting people's needs. So you want to provide value. However, you still said that in the course of it, you will still make money.
Hold up. Let me explain what I mean. Let me just explain like very easily. You work in a company, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah?
Of course.
I'm sure you work in a company.
Yes.
Your company offers value. You are working, and you know that if I do this thing, who designed the product? Fine. The idea, the holistic idea came from somebody.
One person.
Do you get? So what gives me passion, basically, or what my kind of temperament or the kind of personality I am? I'm very innovative. I'm very creative. I'm not someone that they will say, Ogale, I'm always fighting with my bosses. I was always fighting with my bosses. When they give me something like, Oga, why not do this like this? At the end of the day, I've said it in the first of maybe the CEO. The CEO now is, you see, this guy, In fact, there was a time I worked and it looked like I was doing more than my line manager because I'm just a driven person. I do the job not like you are paying me. I put my life on the line, like it's mine. So that's being a CEO, being an entrepreneur. I used to tell people at times, sometimes it's a gift, sometimes it's hidden.
Okay, if I understand you now, I think if I have to interpret what you're doing now, your passion will be better appreciated as an entrepreneur in the sense that
Exactly.
whatever the level of passion you put into your job as a 9-to-5 job, you won't go beyond a certain level in terms of payment at the end of the month. But for an entrepreneur, now you put in the passion today, you're getting this X amount of money as a result of that. You feel that, okay, if I can double it, I can still make more. That, okay, that's the kind of person I see you to be.
Exactly.
You are, permit me to use the word, a bit restless.
Okay.
Because you said you are not the type that you are not the type that conforms to things.
Yeah.
You want to think out of the box. You want to create things on your own, and you might not be able to thrive under 9-to-5 job.
Perfect.
Because you are being controlled, you are being regulated. Things that you can do on your own, you are not allowed. You have to do it within certain parameters. Unlike when you are on your own, you decide that, okay, fine, this is the way we'll do it, but I want it in a different way now.
Sorry.
Okay.
And I think that, just supporting what she has said, I think CEOs need to do better. When we started 9-to-5 that time during COVID, they used to force us to. It was not deliverables. Whether if you submit your deliverable and finish today, tomorrow they will give you are good, Abby. They'll be like, okay, deliverable. Maybe you had 5 tasks, and before 2 hours you finish. Where we were when working for Mo really started in Nigeria.
It started post-COVID.
Post-COVID. I will submit our deliverable. Tomorrow they will tell us and say, okay, almost like these people are largest. They don't want to collect free salary, Abby. Now come another job. Give the deliverable. So I would say that basically, because I picked from it, I said, how can I think? Well, I said, this is a nice idea because I'm also like that, and I've picked something out of this show. I need to do better too with how I relate with staff, because there's a way CEOs think. They are the ones spending the money. They'll be like, okay, for example, I give you a task and I'm expecting normally 9-to-5. Is it not called 9-to-5?
Yes.
And you have finished your own task around 10:30. Me as a mentality, that's why I said basically she's working in a good place. And I said we also, at the masses, other CEOs and entrepreneurs like me, have to imbibe having an healthy working environment. Because if our environment was not healthy, a random 9-to-5 worker in this country is not happy. Forget all these podcasts we are doing.
So let me
all day wait.
No, hold on.
So where I'm going is average 9-to-5.
Okay.
You know, enjoy.
Okay, so let's move. I want to ask Tosin.
Congratulations, she's working in a good place. So
I want to ask Tosin. Now, whether you're I know you're obviously more for 9-to-5, regardless of what he says. Now let's aggregate their contribution to the economy.
Yeah.
Which is, so I see 9-to-5 and entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs are more like the coach in a team.
Yeah.
And let's say the team is the economy now, right?
Okay.
And the 9-to-5 persons are like the team players. Maybe the players, some might be, if you are the management cadre, you are like an assistant coach, all of those kind of things. So if you want to look at aggregate their value, right, which would you say is contributing more?
Definitely 9-to-5ers. You have to look at, number one, the population. How many entrepreneurs you have compared to the number of 9-to-5ers?
Yeah.
And then if you completely take out 9-to-5ers out of the economy, what do you have left? As an entrepreneur, can you do everything? You can't. You need 9-to-5ers.
But the entrepreneurs conceptualize ideas, and then they bring a tean to.
So an idea is not enough. It's never enough. Implementation is key. Execution is key. Who does that 9-to-5? You can't. An idea is not enough. How do you scale to 10 countries?
I think both sides, they need themselves.
Yeah, that's what I was saying at the beginning.
If the entrepreneurs shouldn't come up with the idea,
it's a complement.
So I will still put it like that. I agree. I don't want us to say they need. We know they need themselves, but I want to. Who is more important? That is my question. I don't want to say I agree that, but
one
who is more important? So, and I'll still go like this. It's still. Thank God we have media guys here. I'll still look at. It's just like an artist. Hold on. It's just like an artist now. I've often sat down and asked myself, an artist comes into the studio, right? sing a song or act a film, but let's use a music. You sing a song. Who is more important in making it a hit? If it becomes a hit, is it the producer who gave him that beat? Right? Is it the guys who worked behind the scene to do the mastering and the sound engineering and all of that? And that is why I'm asking now. If you look at entrepreneurs, you're saying, she is saying, so I don't want to. Who is more important? Like, and you just said the 9 to 5. But I'm looking at it now. If the entrepreneur does not conceptualize the idea, and he has said to an extent, entrepreneurship is inborn, so it's more.
It's not necessarily. Sometimes entrepreneurship is born out of, the times. People, you think people really like the products, all the products that, or rather, let me rephrase. When an entrepreneur does a business, it does out of need, not because he really likes the product. So he knows that he's going to make an opportunity here. There's an opportunity to make money. He doesn't have to like the product. Okay. It's a need it's a value that has to be delivered. So I don't really care about the product.
Okay, so Ode, if I have to answer your question,
okay,
I would say you cannot build something on nothing.
Yeah.
So to me, I would still say the entrepreneur is more important in the sense that is where the idea is coming from. Now, whatever the others are doing, just like the analogy you gave in terms of making a song, if the original guy is not there, the other guys will have nothing to work on. So there must be something that you need to build on, which is the original idea. So it is the original idea that others will now come in to flesh up. You do this, you refine it. If there was no crude oil, that wouldn't be.
But do you know if the food soldiers now, the 9 to 5 guys, don't believe in your dream, they can crash.
I agree with you. Like I said, I'm not undermining the importance. I'm not undermining that. But I'm only telling you that there must be a basis
for
to build on. To build on.
So why do you say he has undermined?
Because by saying that they're more important.
No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I said both are important. I said it earlier, but he insisted that one must be more important. Then I used the analogy that you cannot build something on nothing. There must be something to build on. It's just like you want to have a story building. There must be the ground floor before you have the top floor.
Yeah.
So if there's no base, where will you build on? That's what I'm just saying. I'm not an entrepreneur. I have to tell you that, but I'm only being objective here now.
As objective as that may sound, it's not practical.
Okay,
an idea cannot exist on its own. An idea cannot. Just because I have an idea doesn't mean I have a business.
So
people have to make that idea work, expand. So 9 to 5 in my own head.
It doesn't answer the question.
Are multipliers.
People have to make the idea work.
So those 9 to 5
are the 9 to 5.
Yeah. What I'm saying
is,
so you
as your own cannot just say I have an idea.
If there's no idea, what would they work on?
No, that's why I said I agree with that.
They will till the forest. We are here running the earth. We are here. In fact, we are not supposed to be entrepreneurs on 9 to 5. We're supposed to just be enjoying our life in the garden. Look
at the football team.
Okay.
Each time a team does badly, the coach gets sacked. Yeah. Even when the players are playing badly.
Yeah. Why not take them?
Because don't you think it's because they feel the players are more important, so the coach can go?
It's easy to replace the coach. The coach determines the direction the team will go. It determines the tactics.
Yeah.
The strategy to be employed. It determines that.
Do you get
so it is on that you now build.
But do you know if somebody is so important? Do you discard the most important person?
The importance is why the importance. Are you listening? The importance of that personality is why they are sacking him. Because they are hungry for growth. The man knows that all I need is to have a sensible head. Sorry, I want to come in now. Do you know that everything starts with an idea? There's a source.
Yeah.
Now, you said execution. Do you know that the way the company is built or the way the company is run, we have the managers, we have operations.
Maybe mid-level,
and then we have operations. These are 95. Do you know the one they pay more at the managers?
Yeah,
and it looks like they are doing less.
Yes. But they
are the ones doing the mental work. They are the one that gives the idea. When they dish the idea out, the work of the 9 to 5 is going to make it work. So how will you tell me that the one will go?
But now hold on. Managers are 9 to 5. Oh.
I'm the one feeding you.
Hope you know managers are 9 to 5.
And you're telling me you're more important.
Hold on.
I'm the one paying your salary.
Hold on.
I think it's just trying to.
If you go to public sector now, if you go to public sector, government play the role of the entrepreneur, although they are regulators. We know now governments are the head.
Yeah.
So why do governments panic if labor goes on strike?
Because a lot of things come in play now. There will be inflation.
So doesn't it
There'll
speak
be-
to their importance?
It does. I
It
think your
does.
question is which
Thank
is
you.
more
Eh,
important.
So
And
and
I
the funny
don't-
thing
I
is,
don't-
and the
Yes,
way he's
and she's
looking,
saying-
and the way, you know why I'm not, you know why I'm even entering Ode. The way he's acting, sometimes he's acting like he's just after my life. And I'm like, guy,
Where I love
Okay.
this. I love this.
It's
Please.
scalable without 9 to 5ers. Your
Yeah,
idea will remain an
because
idea without 9 to 5ers.
You know why? You are my G.
So
You know
guys,
why? Wait,
guys.
wait, you be my G. You know why? You are listening to us both and you're trying to, okay, this is what I connoted. Ode is just after one CEO. It's like one CEO. After one CEO. it's like one CEO is
Okay,
after
okay,
one.
all right,
Okay,
all right.
so-
Thank you very much,
Thank
everyone.
you
It's
too.
been an interesting
So
show. I wouldn't say one side is more important than the other.
Yeah.
Both are
I
important.
hope I've done
Both
my
are
best,
complementary.
My G.
So whatever we do, if you choose to do a 9 to 5, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you choose to be an entrepreneur, it's not a bad thing as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Both are there to develop the economy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Hope to see you guys again.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's a wrap.